The following is a special presentation of WEDU Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota.
It's a beautiful sight. It's something that any member of the Audubon Society would probably pay a fee to come see it, but we'll let them come for nothing.
The whooping crane population was really in trouble. They were actually down to a total of 16 birds. That's it. People really got concerned and decided we need to do something, otherwise these birds might not be around much longer.
This is a fabulous ranch, but no one would ever know that a steeplechase course was back here, that such a pristine course existed.
And on to the 5th of 10, halfway home.
The events we have on race day for the children are fantastic. We do a very family-oriented day with Jack Russell races and hat contests, carriage parades, all kinds of activities for children and families, so it's not just an adult activity.
We're interested in water. We're trying to conserve the water that should have been on this ranch for years but wasn't. It's here now.
These landowners are doing a lot of things to preserve these large tracts of land as well as restore these large tracts of lands, and it'll be these lands that are a major asset to Florida as we move forward.
Northeast of Tampa Bay lies a rural landscape of undulating hills of green. One of the jewels of this historic Dade City landscape is the 1,800-acre Little Everglades Ranch. Central Florida ranges from pine and palmetto flatlands to high hammocks dotted with lakes, swamps, and marshes. It is here, just north of Dade City, that the Little Everglades Ranch was established as a pioneer cattle ranch by Bill and Emily Larkin in the 1940s. As was popular during this phase of Florida's history, the natural landscape was developed to create grazing land and pasture suitable for raising cattle. The land was bulldozed. Levees and a canal system were built to hold the water being drained and pumped from the lowlands. In the mid-1990s, Bob and Sharon Blanchard bought the Little Everglades Ranch, and since that time have been painstakingly restoring the land to its original ecology.
When we first saw this ranch, it was a working cattle ranch. Little attention, if any, had been given to the amenities of trying to beautify it. They did save a lot of the wonderful old live oak trees, and we recognized there was a basis here for improving this property until it would be a beautiful piece of ground. This is a working ranch. We have about 300 cows here. It's a cow-calf program, and each year we sell the calves. We also raise horses. We have about 5 brood mares, and each year we will have 3 or 4 babies, which is a wonderful thing because they're just beautiful.
Even today, the Little Everglades Ranch continues its legacy as a working ranch and specializes in breeding top-notch Hanoverian show horses and exotic belted Galloway cattle.
If you look like here, you see a lake. You'll also see 2 cattle that are in the water up to their bellies or backs, which shows that it's not only the aquatic animals and birds that enjoy the water. They're eating water plants, and that's part of their diet. So you don't see that very often unless a ranch has water.
The Blanchards are determined to preserve a slice of old Florida against a rising tide of growth. They are equally determined to preserve the ranch's newly restored water habitat.
For the first century of Florida statehood, we did a great job of ditching and draining the wetland systems. It's only been during the last 2 or 3 decades that we recognize the importance of these systems. Not only do they function as the kidney for our water resources by cleaning up the water quality, they also provide storage, which allows us to lessen flood effects down watershed as well as recharge the aquifers. Another important attribute of wetland systems is that they provide critical habitat for birds and so many other species. That's why it's important that we restore these systems where they've been degraded.
In front of us is a rookery. This didn't exist a few years ago. There's also water between the trees that you see and the land. This used to be an area that was grazed by cattle. We have since changed the ecology. At the present time, there's a lake to the north and a lake to the south, approximately 60 acres each. And now you see there are thousands of birds that fly into this every afternoon and leave in the morning. The reason you see so many birds today is that it's a nesting season. And those birds are building nests. There's a little courtship going on. That's why you have all the chattering. And if you would flush those birds, call them all to fly, the sky would just be white with birds at this time. In the afternoon, when they come in flight after flight for a period of about an hour and a half to 2 hours, there will be several thousand birds that will come in and spend the night in this piece of property. And it's a beautiful sight. It's something that any member of the Audubon Society would probably pay a fee to come see it, but we'll let them come for nothing. This past week we had a whooping crane that flew over the barn. The young lady that works for us, she followed it and took a picture of it over by the racetrack.
The whooping crane is one of the most magnificent birds in North America and one of the most endangered. A full-grown adult stands 5 feet tall and has a wingspan of 7 to 8 feet. Since 1980, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has been the lead agency involved in a large-scale project to restore the whooping crane to the southeastern United States, the Non-Migratory Whooping Crane Reintroduction Project.
I'm not surprised that that whooping crane showed up out here at all. This really seems to be the kind of habitat where you commonly find them in. This has really got everything they're kind of looking for. You've got lots of pasture. They kind of like the wide open with the grass kept short, you know, because then they can really keep an eye out for predators, and lots of little wet depressional areas. That's really what they look for. That's really kind of their favored feeding habitat. They like to walk around the edges of the water and, you know, catch everything from snakes to bugs to worms, frogs, tadpoles. So I can see how this area really has a lot to offer a whooping crane.
The cooperation of private landowners has been an important component of this project because the best available crane habitat in Central Florida is on private land.
I cannot stress enough how helpful it is when the public takes the time to sit down and take note of a bird, possibly even write down the coloring, the band combination if they can see it, but then to take the time to call us and let us know that they've seen this bird. As you can imagine, you know, we've got a lot of birds, they're ranging over a wide area, and unfortunately, transmitters only last so long, and once a transmitter fails, it becomes much more difficult for us to keep up with that bird. So if a bird goes into an isolated area, or he's spending time, you know, in the middle of somebody's private property that's, you know, thousands of acres, it would be very difficult for us to locate that bird without the help of the public. I just can't say enough how much people taking the time to do this kind of thing just really makes it possible for us to do our jobs and to monitor this population.
While their numbers drastically declined in the 20th century, today biologists are hopeful that Florida will eventually have a self-sustaining population of whooping cranes.
The flag is up and they're off. Now, close the foot on the outside. There's best finish next up for very third. And on to the 5th of 10, halfway home.
The ranch may be best known as the host site of Florida's only annual steeplechase event. The Little Everglades steeplechase combines the thundering beauty of some of America's finest racehorses with outdoor family fun.
4 jumps from home.
Bob and I got involved in the steeplechase world when the National Steeplechase Association wanted to bring steeplechasing to Florida to promote the sport. And Bob and I were very anxious to get involved because of the equine world, and we've always been interested in the horse world. The first race was through just our cow pastures. And then after that was a success and the people seemed to perceive it very well in Dade City, we decided to go ahead and start building our track 3 years ago. And this is the product we've gotten.
I'm just so thrilled to be included and to be involved in the steeplechase. This is our 3rd year. We've had a steeplechase and sanctioned by the National Steeplechase Association. Our first year was a point-to-point race meet where we gave no prize money or no purses. This year we had $115,000 in purse money, and we were amazed, absolutely amazed at the amount of entries that we had.
On the outside.
We've gotten some of the top horses down here. Al Skywalker and Trey Touche and some of the very famous ones have all come and raced here and done very well.
Water Hunter is 4th, followed by Frequente.
The events we have on race day for the children are fantastic. We do a very family-oriented day with Jack Russell races, all kinds of activities for children and families, so it's not just an adult activity. A lot of people bring their young children and they just have a blast. We have pony rides for them. One of our most fun races are the pony races that we have here, that where the children, all amateurs, bring their little ponies and come from all over. Some of them come from farther north than Georgia and South Carolina, and a lot of them are just local people that come and race their ponies.
Is next. Blame It on Pete is 3rd. And nearing the finish, that's excuse my French.
The pony races have been a great thing for the sport because it brings in new jockeys, and actually some of these young kids do end up becoming jockeys, so it gives them a chance to see how the jockeys feel and how it is to win a race or race in a race.
I was really scared. I was so terrified, but I just got out on the track and all you hear is the hooves hitting the ground and you're just like, it's gonna be okay. So I had fun too.
The Blanchards are very devoted to having a race course that is safe. The grass, the turf that's out there for the horses to run on is manicured all year long. This is a one-day event. 1 day a year we use this track. But it is manicured and is worked on every single day of the year. So a lot goes into making this race meet happen.
So far we haven't had any injuries, and we hope we never will. It's taken us probably about 3 years to get the turf the way it really should be. The first year is a little hard, and the grass hadn't grown as much as it should, but every year it gets better because the roots go down deeper and we aerate more often. We're learning more and more. So that is another reason why it makes one of the top tracks, because of the footing for the horses. One thing we've learned is the longer the grass, the longer the ryegrass grows on top of the Bermuda, the slower the pace is, which that's what they want. They want a slow pace for the horses. It's kind of like car racing, speed kills.
U.S. steeplechasing occurs in 12 states and raises millions of dollars for charities each year.
Probably the major reason that Bob and I've gotten so involved is Bob has always been very interested in philanthropy. And the money that we get from the race, that we make from the race, all the profit goes to charities. And the charities we've chosen are the Tampa YMCA, the Dade City YMCA, and the Florida Pioneer Museum, which is in Dade City. So that's been one of the main reasons Bob likes giving back to the community where he lives. And it's a great spot in a wonderful country, little small town.
Our biggest problem that we've had since we started the race meet was to let people know what a steeplechase race meet was. We've had a lot of interest from other states, but only the ones that know what steeplechasing is. So we want to include all of our local people and the people that go to the regular racetracks, the flat tracks. So this year was kind of a milestone for us. we have been advertising in a lot of areas, Ocala, Orlando, Sarasota, to try to let people know that we're here. This is a fabulous ranch, but no one would ever know that a steeplechase course was back here, that such a pristine course existed. And if you talk to other steeplechase directors and owners of horses, we are getting to be the top. And some to say we are the top of the list for the steeplechase races, and I think that's why we had so many entries. And I think we're letting the people in this area know that we're here and we want them to come and see what just a special thing that we have going on out here.
It's hard to believe that just a couple of weeks ago we had the race with 10,000 people out here with all the activities going on. It's totally gone back to its natural habitat now. We have our 2-year-old heifers grazing out on the infield. Behind me, you'll see the osprey nest. They do endure the race and they stay for the whole event. I think they enjoy it. In the spring, they'll leave and then they come back again in the early, probably January, and spend a couple of months with us and raise their young. And I guess they've been with us now for about 5 years. And when they move out, the eagle come in, and they don't nest there, they just hunt from the same tree. But they seem to know their times when they're each allowed to use the condos. I guess that's condo sharing.
The Blanchards are committed to the preservation and restoration of the Little Everglades Ranch. They have spared no expense. New trees are filling old grazing land, and lakes and wetlands are being created where peat mining took place.
This is our peat mining operation. It's been going on now on the ranch for about 3 years. This is the way the piles look as they mine it and drop it with a drag line. This product will lay here for a few weeks while the moisture leaves. When they mine the product like they are today, it's about 80% moisture. If you notice, you can take and squeeze it and squeeze water out of it. What you see here are fibrous roots that are partially decayed. This takes place over thousands of years, and it becomes a wonderful agricultural product that's a benefit to our communities and to the plant industry. Once this operation is concluded, you can look across this way, and there will be water from here to the green grass you see on the far side. Years ago, this was a lake. A few years after that, they built a levee to block the waters from the floodwaters from the Withlacoochee River. Once this mining project is finished, we will break that dam. It will be very easy for us to flood this, and we'll have a 60-acre lake right in this area where we're standing today.
These landowners are doing a lot of things to preserve these large tracts of land as well as restore these large tracts of land. And it'll be these lands that are a major asset to Florida as we move forward.
We're concerned about the water issue in the state of Florida, the shortage of it in certain communities. We have at this ranch, if you see over here on my left, there's a lake that wasn't a lake 3 weeks ago. We've been working for the last 2.5 years getting it ready to flood. And now we've got a wonderful body of water here, which will help support the aquifer. We're trying to conserve the water that should have been on this ranch for years, but wasn't. It's here now.
We use a lot of water along Florida's west coast. On a daily basis, it's about 15 Weeki Wachee rivers. That's why conservation is so important. If we could just conserve 10% of the water we use, that could be an amount equivalent to about 6 seawater desal plants or 150 million gallons of water a day.
Florida has a tremendous amount of rainfall. We actually have plenty of water. We shouldn't be having water shortages in and around the state. Most of the shortages are man-made. What happened in the Everglades is a typical example. What happened on this ranch years ago is a typical example.
The water we use can also impact our wetlands and lakes, and that's why it's so important that we all conserve, be it planting Florida-friendly landscape or having a conservation ethic when you use water within the home.
Until we recognize the true cost of delivering water, we're not going to have any meaningful conservation. People won't save water if it costs just a few pennies to water their lawn or take a shower or use it in their home. But once that cost increases, there's an incentive to conserve water.
It's so important that we properly manage the water resources in Florida. Really, the coming decade is going to really define what Florida looks like for generations to come. Restoration efforts such as out here at the Little Everglades Ranch and so many other places will be critical to making sure that we have a sustainable Florida.
As the Little Everglades Ranch is restored to its historic wetland habitat, a slice of old Florida is revealed. Wildlife is thriving, and once again, the name Little Everglades is a true reflection of the rich natural history of this special place in Florida.
We'd like to have this as part of our legacy, that we created something of beauty, and we'll keep it that way forever.